right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to us younger brothers. And peace and blessing and salutation to the hopeful elect out there pushing his word in truth and in sincerity across the four winds. In the name of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners, whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah. All right, and what I want to go into, is a transition of power. What we're seeing happen in real time is the Lord transition rulership in the earth. And the beautiful thing about it, the rulership is being transitioned to a nation, that no one is considering. First of all, no one even considers so-called Negroes and Latinos and Native Americans to be, the true Israelites, and the fact that we are the true Israelites hidden in plain sight, and we're watching, the kingdom being translated, to us, is a beautiful thing. And that's why, the Apostle Paul, he pushed emphasis about being tapped into prophecy, man. Because when we're in tune with prophecy, we're in tune and engaged of the Lord's handiwork in the earth. And what we're witnessing right now is Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah make major moves in the earth. The Heavenly Father, when you look into what's going on real time right now, the Heavenly Father, is transitioning, from the kingdom of Esau, Edom, to the kingdom of Jacob. You see, this AI infrastructure, that's being pushed in the world, this whole AI, we know it's linked to the MOTB. This conflict with America and with Iran and the small hats, which, America, is going to take this thing to another level, whenever they enter into that war, But all that is the Lord transitioning kingdoms. See, people in their mind, America is forever. This current situation is forever. You got people really believing in 2040, 2100. And Esau brought out something about the year 2100. Like, in people's mind, this empire doesn't end. But what we're seeing happening is signs that this is the end. What we're seeing real time is signs that this is the end. This is the end of Esau's kingdom. This is the end of the Gentiles, the actual heathen, having rulership and authority in the earth. This is it. So we have to really understand, and people think, war with Iran is just another war. No, this is the end of an empire. Because it's way bigger than Iran, it's way bigger than, these nations we get into. They just play a part in what the Lord wants to do in the earth. They have a part within the Lord's will, and that's to turn America to a desert. These heathens going into captivity. And the true Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans coming into power, man. The Lord is performing this right before our eyes, man. And that's why, everything that we believe is happening in real time. That's why we have to be rooted in what we believe. Because if you don't believe that the MOTB is the sea hill, then you can't see the Lord's handiwork. You don't see the Lord work in real time. But the fact that the Lord gave us, the eye salve to see these things. You got Jake that don't think that Esau, the so-called white man think the so-called white man the Japhet. Well, you're not in tune with prophecy. You really don't know what's going on. You see? But being in tune with prophecy, and that's why the apostles, beginning with Elder Apostle Tahar, push prophecy as the focal point of the ministry, man. Because the more we're in tune with prophecy, the more we see our power at work, man. We see our power at work. And Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah is going to continue to do mighty works in the earth. This is a major thing, a major shift that's getting ready to happen in the earth. This is their last transition, man. You know, this is their last transition in which Israel, all right, will rule the planet Earth in righteousness forever. Okay? Esau was the last heathen, okay, that was prophesied to be in power. And it was prophesied that he will go out through great violence. Okay? You go into Revelation 18. Okay, it's prophesied that Esau will go out in great power. So this is what, you know, we're witnessing, okay, real time, is this devil, you know, is in the midst of his overthrow. You see? And everything that this devil is doing to stay in power, all right, all he's doing is removing himself from power. And that's why you see them kind of hesitant to make certain moves. You know, Trump talking about, give me 2 weeks. 2 weeks, nigga. You know, your man's them is catching their fade. You know, your man's them had that one, you know, that one punch in the first round, and it's been downhill from there. Okay, niggas said give him 2 weeks. Okay, showing you that these devils, you know, they don't have that dominance that they once had. You know, and that's the Lord that's stripping Esau from that dominance, man, stripping him from that left hand wisdom, you know, that he's been able to deceive with. Okay, he's being called out, all right, and the Lord is showing that he is. You see, that's what, when it boils down to it, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai is showing that he is. All these opinions and, you know, all this madness and this society and everybody rebellion and pride, and the Lord finna show that he is. Pride finna stop. Okay, all this debating about atheists and ain't no God, and it's many guys, and you know, Egypt tied the ancestors seed, all this finna stop. And the will of the Lord through prophecy, all right, is finna settle in the earth, man. And judgment finna go forth in biblical proportions, man. Okay, as they say, the news coverage. Okay, the Lord finna show that he is, and everybody gonna know that it's Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai that's doing this. Okay, it's gonna be no secret about it, and that's why we prophesying those names. Okay, we're already giving credit to our power before it's done. Okay, and that proves that he is. All right, that's another way that he proves that he is, by executing on what's written in the scriptures, because the prophecies, okay, is the will of the Lord. Okay, it's the will of the Lord, and we're seeing the will of the Lord play out real time. We're actually seeing transition of empires, man. You know, you really gotta think about that, man. The Lord, you know, has reserved us, our righteous, our will, that elect, to see that last transition, man. This is what Ezra, you know, was inquiring about. You know, when you read the book of Ezra, the 2nd Ezra, the 6th chapter, okay, he was inquiring about when, okay, are we going to rule? The book of Acts, you know, chapter 1, I believe verse 6, but thou now restore the kingdom to Israel, and that time is now. That time is now, man. This is the time when the Lord is finally going to restore the kingdom to Israel, man. You see? Because now we're learning and understanding, you know, rulership. You know, the responsibility that comes with rulership, we're understanding it now. You see? Because but this whole captivity, this whole, you know, grace period was about us, you know, truly understanding the responsibility that comes with rulership. Okay? And as we are beginning to understand these things day by day more and more, the Lord is bringing this thing to the end. So as we're learning, you know, to be those righteous judges, to be those righteous leaders, all right, to be balanced, you know, knowing how to operate in the spirit, okay, understanding the mindset that goes into the law, you know, because the law, okay, you have the technicalities of the law, but the law was supposed to breed a particular mindset. You know, love towards the Most High, love for thy brethren. On these two hang the law. Okay, and we're really understanding that concept now. You know, for ages we didn't get it. You know, we will fall, but now the Lord is perfecting us. You know, in the mind, in the conscience. Okay, to where we're going to be fit to be those joint heirs with Yahweh Shai forever. So now, the more that we learn these things, the more that, you know, the sons of God mature, okay, the more we see the earth being transitioned. You see, there's a direct correlation between, you know, us maturing in righteousness and the Lord transitioning kingdom, man. You know, and this is why we should be tapped in more than ever, locked in more than ever, man. Okay, this place is done. Okay, the Lord, you know, calls us to be dead to this world. Okay, their good news is our good news is bad news for them. Okay, what they call bad news is good news for us, man. Okay, so these people, you know, people, you know, trying to see, you know, about the draft. You know, every time war happens, everybody get to Googling about the draft, and you know, nigga try to see, can do Iran missiles reach over here and all, you know. No, man, we don't have to worry about those things, man. Okay? All this is good news for us, man. That's why Yahweh Shai said you should hear wars and rumors of wars, all right? But fear not. You know, be not troubled. Okay? These people are troubled at these things. You know, they make mockery, and, you know, these things, you know, these people, okay, are in trouble. You know, because everything that they believe in consists of America still being up and running, this beast system, okay, being the dominant system in the earth. You know, so everything that the masses of the people believe in, all right, it requires this place to be up and functioning, man. Okay, everything we believe in begins with the destruction of America, begins with the destruction of this beast system. You see? So we have two different beliefs. Okay? We got two completely different belief systems in the earth, man. And that's why Yahweh Shai says that you with him or against him. Ain't no in between. Because by default, if you're with Yahweh Shai, you're going to be anti this world. And if you're with the world, you're anti Yahweh Shai. Okay? So as we, you know, locked in, tapped in with Yahweh Shai, man, we're against everything about this place, man. You know? So we bask in their good and their bad news because it's our good news, man. You know? So we in a time now, all right, where the Lord, you know, is fulfilling everything that's written. And we can see it because even us, you know, being awakened to who we are is prophecy, man. You know, us being awakened to who we are as a people is major prophecy, man. That's fulfillment of prophecy. You know, we will be scattered, okay, we will fall away. But then in the lands of our captivities, we will remember ourselves, man. Okay, and as we remember ourselves and started to rehearse the righteous acts through faith, the Lord has begun to dismantle this place, man. You know, to uncover Esau, all right, to cause, you know, friction between these nations, okay, which all these nations are, you know, what would you say, conglomerate, okay, when it comes to this new world order, you see, where it's going to be the Lord that's going to cause the friction between these nations, man, okay? See, it doesn't matter about these nations, you know, being in agreement when it comes to this new world order. The Lord's going to have them in disagreement because it's for the sake of war, okay? And that's what's going to stand, you see? So, as we, you know, go into prophecy and understand the will of Yahweh B'Shem Shai, you know, we're witnessing, all right, the Lord, all right, do his pleasure in the earth, okay? We're witnessing the Lord do his pleasure. You want to know what the pleasure of the Lord is? Well, get into prophecy, man. Okay? That's his pleasure. It's his pleasure to, you know, destroy America, turn this place to a desert. And it's his pleasure to give, you know, his people the kingdom. Okay? Beginning with his son, Yahweh Shai. All these is the Lord's pleasure. Okay? And it's all written within the scriptures. So, you know, that's pretty much the point. You know, just wanted to go into that, you know, quick in transit, you know, on the way to camp. So Lord will, you know, you brothers, all right, and you sisters edified till next time I say shalom.